Before I became a parent, people told me that parenting is the scariest thing that you will ever do, but it's also the most rewarding thing that you'll ever do. And I agree with that completely. Now
Yes.
that I have a kid, I'm thinking, yeah, they're exactly right. Now, the worrying on the one hand is the worrying of my child's going to fall off the couch and he's going to break his arm and things like that. Be
Right.
careful, stop doing that.
Right.
But then we see some other things that happen that are a little deeper. Coming out of Nashville, we had the Covenant school shooting recently. My son was in Nashville at the time. I shared this with you off air, but him and my wife were actually driving on the interstate and passing the police cars and the ambulances going the other way. And then the next day he's back in daycare. And fear was a very real thing. And I think for parents living in Nashville and parents even living outside Nashville that had to kind of live through this through other people and through the media, they've been parenting in fear lately. It has taken over, and we're scared. You wonder, could this happen to my kid? Will this happen to my kid? Could this happen again?
Yes.
Will this happen again? How do we handle that worry? And even what are we missing when that worry is all that we can focus on?
Yeah. So I think there's two different ways to look at it. One is we're just human. God made us to be human and to care deeply and to love our children and to want to protect them, and for parents to be afraid after an incident like that is perfectly normal, understandable. Even I would go so far as to say that if parents weren't worried, I would be concerned about them, right? Because this is violent, this is unacceptable, this is out of the blue. This feels very. We feel so out of control in those situations. And as believers, what can we do with the overwhelming emotion of fear? As believers, we can go to the Lord with the fear. We have a choice. If the fear takes over, then we're going to make major decisions for our children out of panic. Those are probably not going to be great decisions. The day after, I wonder how many parents in Nashville, for example, decide to homeschool their children forever. And some of them probably said, "I'm moving to a cave. We're all living, offline." There's these feelings that just make us want to go hide and not even be a part of the culture, right? We have to take that fear and lay it at the foot of Jesus and say, okay, this is happening around me. I'm not sure I know what to do with how scared I am. Please help. And he does. Because what does he say in Philippians 4? What does he say? Philippians 4, 6, and 7 says, be anxious for nothing. And basically nothing includes if the sky is falling, right? It includes days like what happened in Nashville. And not in a frivolous way. Not in a frivolous way of saying, oh, just don't worry about it. That's not human. That's not possible. We're in a state of fear. We're in a state of anxiety. But to go to the Lord and say, okay, what do I do with this? And he says, if you give it to me and you pray and you trust me, I can replace that with my perfect peace. One thing that I learned as a child growing up with a fear-based parent is that fear impacted me more sometimes than all the good things she was trying to teach me. So she loved Jesus. She gave me the gospel. I am so grateful for my mother. She's an incredible woman. But fear is a tangible presence, and the enemy knows how negative and how destructive it can be. So if we kind of move forward in that fear and we let it become chronic anxiety and we begin making major decisions out of that fear, then our children are going to absorb that. And our children actually do two different things. The compliant child will absorb the fear and say, I need to be scared too. And they will, mommy and dad are scared, or even the older children, mom and dad are scared, and so I should be scared too, and I need to watch out for everything and be panicking and be anxious all the time. The strong-willed child, however, will look at mom and dad's fear and say, I don't like that. That's uncomfortable. I don't want to be afraid. So I'm going to prove to them there's nothing to be afraid of. And so sometimes parents are going, why in the world would my child go do these things? They know how I feel about them. Well, it's like, yeah, they're trying to say, see, it's fine. I told you it's fine. And it's really not. It's really not fine. My son did this. So, so we have to think about, what is fear a positive, motivating, warm, loving thing that we're handing to our child or bringing into our home? Or is fear of the enemy? Is it destructive? Is it divisive? Is it going to make relationships prickly and difficult to work through? And all the negative things, right? So we really want the Lord to set us free from the fear, move us toward wisdom. So making decisions out of wisdom, not a heightened sense of anxiety, but out of wisdom. And then when we go outward as believers and we say, okay, you know what? The Lord is with me in my fear. Now let me go to my neighbor and love on them, because they don't know the Lord and they don't know where to go with their fear. So that's how we impact a scared culture, right? As the Lord comforts us so that we can comfort others.